in Boston to get more kids to proficiency, to close access and achievement gap, and to get lots more kids ready to go on to post-secondary and career opportunities. And you know what? This is more than about summer school. So this is really about how do you give young people experiences that develop their academic excellence, build their resiliency to try hard, and also help to transfer those experiences to experiences in the future. So I think that we've learned maybe like 3 things in our work over the last few years. One thing we've learned is this, that for our kids who are behind, who are not on track, they need more time. They need more time with great experiences, with great teachers. Secondly, we've discovered one other learning. If all you do is drill and practice, it doesn't mean that students will be more engaged and do what it takes to put in the extra energy. So here's what, every single student, every single person has discretionary effort. So they have the effort they put in, and then they have a set of discretionary effort that they get to choose whether to overexert themselves and to do more. So through this work, what we're trying to do is not just get them to come, but to put in that discretionary effort that is the difference, really, between the kids who make all A's and the kids who don't. Because you can have kids who are all smart, but the kids who use the discretionary effort, who use that extra effort that they don't have to put in, but they choose to put in, are more likely to do well. So we've learned that these kids need more time, that we have to think about them not just as drill and practice academic activities. We have to think non-traditionally, and we have to give them experiences that engage them, that excite them. And then finally, I think one other learning that we've had is we can't do this alone, and we can't expect our teachers to do it alone. That is to say, if we expect to close access and achievement gap, it won't happen between 8 and 3 during the school year. It really will require more folks involved. And so the real good news about this summer learning project is we have lots of partners. And the partners think non-traditionally. They think outside the box. And so those partners are helping us create the opportunities that excite kids, that excite students about learning. And I don't know if they're going to show you at all today the film from last summer. Are they going to get to see that? You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, because you'll see the enthusiasm. You'll see that discretionary effort that we're trying to mobilize in the students that we serve. The other thing, learning is ultimately also a social experience. So the networking, the opportunity to work with other students from diverse backgrounds, different schools, to work with you, for you to work with us. This social experience is not just about students learning, it's also about the adults learning. And hopefully, you're going to learn some things about what it's going to take that you can tell us and that we can change. So some of you were involved last year, and you've learned some things that worked and some things that didn't work. And so we hope that through this process of continuing to reassess, self-correct, revise what we do, that we will eventually come up with very strong models that can be replicated across the city of Boston in every single neighborhood for lots of children from very different backgrounds. But the ultimate goal here is that students will be better prepared to do well, not just in the summer program, but in school for the whole year following summer school, but also beyond that. The resilience work that we're doing, the academic work we're doing, the efforts to really get students to be engaged, that will have both school implications, but lifelong implications for these students as they develop, because we do see our work as developing the whole child and not just developing their minds alone. So, thank you so very much for being here and being part of this wonderful experiment. Thank you for all you do every day for the students in the city of Boston, and for being willing to commit on a Saturday and a summer to make a difference in their lives. Thank you for coming.
Ron is from the Bar Foundation, which is a monetary partner that helps us make this all real. So we thank him very much. He is also one of our biggest cheerleaders and probably one of the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life. So I would like to introduce Mr. Rahn Dorsey, who's going to say a few words from our partner perspective.
Good morning, everybody. I love having her as my PR person. It makes life a lot easier. It must be the beginning of summer because it's the only time that I see so much talent gathered in one room. So I'm glad to be here before each of you today. I want to first thank the superintendent for her remarks, and I'm actually going to repeat a few things that she said because I think they're worth underscoring, but I want to recognize that she's a huge ally in the work that we're doing to support the whole child, and I think deadly serious about figuring out how the school system best integrates with communities in some ways that nurture our children to the fullest. So Dr. Johnson, thank you very much. I also want to quickly thank our partners who are here today from NIOST and from the Para Institute. I think you're in for a treat today with today's training, next week's training as well. These are folks who have taught me a lot and who have had a special dedication to the work that we're doing in the summer. So Gil, Georgia, everyone, thank you very much. So one thing that I want to ask you to do over the course of the day is to figure out for you at the individual level and figure out for your organization, your school, what this summer is going to be about. It can be about a lot of different things. I'm going to argue to you that first and foremost, it's really about putting young people, students, children at the center of the work that we're going to do, but also figure out in some more specific ways what this summer is going to be about for you, your organization, and your school. When I was asked to prepare a couple of remarks, I had to kind of do a similar thing, and there are two things for me that the summer is about. The first is striking the most effective balance that we can strike between being deeply intentioned this summer and being creative. We got to do both of those things. The second thing that this is about is starting to put into place the more permanent kinds of changes we want to see in Boston to support young people's learning. So let me talk a little bit about this first objective, really striking this balance between being intentional and being creatively free. So to my mind, and you can check me on this, what we try to be most intentional about is creating whole child experiences over the last couple of years. And these are experiences that by purpose and design really want to support the intellectual development, the creative development, the spiritual development, and the emotional development of the young people we're working with. We're not talking about isolating the head and just working on children's heads for a period of time so that they are well-educated students. We're talking about over the course of the entire day working on the head, the heart, and the body to make sure that we are developing well-rounded people. Not just well-educated, but well-rounded. I would argue to you that we're really helping young people in their processes of becoming. And what I mean by that is we're here to help them over the arc of their childhood, their adolescence, and their young adulthood to gain a sense of purpose, to gain a sense of identity, a sense of place in the world, a sense of their capabilities and their limitations. A lot of that work will start with you. Now, there are some very specific things that we've been trying to do over the last couple of years to make sure that we can provide those experiences, and they range from a number of things, including making sure that we've got long-lasting partnerships between schools and community organizations who are on the same page to support our children in this way. We're trying to bring new information to bear about the young people that we serve and the work that we do so that we can build accountability with one another for the work and for the results. we're trying to bring different kinds of results to bear, not just the academic results, but we want to know how kids are growing. Again, how well prepared they are to be out in the world. That work begins with you. We're trying to grow rigor into what we're doing. We're trying to get better at our practice, do things at the highest level of quality that we can. Some of you will remember that last year, the Rand Corporation and NIOS gave us a ton of feedback about our programs, very good feedback. And one of the things they said is, let's ramp up some of the academic rigor, let's ramp up some of the program quality. You're already doing well, but you can excel and you can be a national leader in the work that you're doing. So we're trying to do that this summer. So think about that as you're planning the work that you do. Now, what I want to caution us about real quickly is that if we kind of do all of these things and be deeply intentional about them, there is a danger. The danger is that we can focus so much on the doing and trying to get it right and the mechanics of what we're trying to do that we start to become more engineers than artists. If we become more engineers than artists, part of what happens is that we start just kind of tinkering around with perfection and figuring out how we can keep going through the motions time and time and time again to keep repeating the same results. But the artistry in this is really thinking about what is emerging. It's about imagining the possibilities for young people and continuing to expand the experience by thinking outside of the box. As Dr. Johnson said, I want to read you a few results from last year's RAND study so that you can understand the power of the creativity that you've already brought to the summer. So this is what RAND had to say. Last year's report highlighted that 6 of the districts in its study, and this is a national study including cities in other parts of the country. This program placed the greatest focus on social-emotional development of children and provided the greatest array of enrichment activities, including extensive outdoor activities. RAND went on to note that average daily attendance in Boston was one of the highest among 6 districts, and that Boston posted the highest rates of student satisfaction in the program. Whatever program they were in, there were 33 of them last year. So it means that you were all doing something powerful and impactful. So I'm going to argue to you that because we've been intentional about the things that I discussed earlier, we've done a good job. But a lot of RAND's results have to do with the creativity that you're bringing to this experience, not just the mechanics of the work. I'm also going to argue further that we're creating something that's deeply engaging for kids because you're bringing your full selves to the work. This work demands that you bring your full self to the work. So if you accept these arguments as fact, and I accept them as fact, then the success of this year's work really depends on how much of yourself you're going to bring to this work. It's true that we need great instruction, we need great teachers, we need great youth work, we need folks who can deliver the content, but we actually, and maybe even more importantly, need whole human beings who can be in relationships with young people in a way that nurture them on a number of different levels. The learning will happen because you're professionals, because you're really good at what you do, but come to this work as whole human beings and ready to connect with the young people that you'll be working with this summer. Real quickly, to conclude, I think that if we strike this balance between what we're intentional about and being super creative this year, we're going to start making some of the permanent changes that we want in Boston. Some of those permanent changes are really about helping schools to evolve into a multidisciplinary place where it's a container for whole child development, where we're not just doing high quality academic instruction, but we're creating positive social emotional environments. We're creating routines and rituals that are both about the learning and about the community building that has to happen during the school day, beyond the school day, and in the summer. We want to wind up creating the kind of culture that we want in Boston and in our neighborhoods through this work. So again, I want to thank you for your leadership, what you're going to do with and for young people this year. I look forward to learning from you, and I know that our kids look forward to being with you this summer. Thank you very much.